Welcome to the Champion Blueprint Podcast, where mindset meets mission.
We're diving into what it really takes to lead, win, and live with purpose.
From NFL locker rooms to boardrooms, it's all about discipline, core values, and the habits that build champions.
Whether you're leveling up in business, life, or leadership, this is your playbook.
Champion your mindset.
Champion your purpose.
Let's go.
Welcome, everybody, to Champion Blueprint, the podcast. I'm George Rogers, and I'm here with Gary. Gary, how you doing, man? How you feeling? What's going on with you?
Man, I'm great, man. Excited for another episode. Obviously, getting some great responses, so excited to keep it going.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about something that we all deal with. You face your share number of it. I've seen it as well in my lifetime as well, and it changes over time.
Yeah.
Leading through adversity. And so we want to dive into this because it's something that changes. And I mentioned that when I grew up, Gary, I thought adversity was something of child play now. Like when I think about the things I thought was adversity at a younger age, it's totally different.
Give me that adversity now.
Yeah. Let's flip the switch and say, hey, let's bring this back. When you think about adversity, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's funny. We were just laughing earlier. When we were kids growing up, adversity was getting homework.
Yeah.
Right. But now, unfortunately, adversity is losing a loved one. Adversity is an injury. Adversity is losing a relationship.
Yeah.
And so many of these things come unplanned, unpredictable, but they occur in our lives.
Yeah.
So I think, how people are defined by what they do after they experience adversity.
Yeah.
And that's what we kind of want to talk about today.
That's good. I always think about, you don't try to deny adversity, define it.
Yeah.
What does this mean in your life? When I think about adversity now, and, we both try to work out, keep ourselves in shape. I think about adversity, especially for the New Year's resolution, gym membership people, is that adversity to me is that opposition I face when I first get back to the gym, or if I take a week or two off from running or whatever it may be. Adversity is that opposition I face and the weights that you're lifting. But the more you lift the weight doesn't change. You're trying to max out what you're going to do. You start off with 50 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever it may be. And over time, that gets easier.
Yeah.
And sometimes we try to deny adversity instead of lifting it and pushing it. And so dealing with adversity, one of the most important things for me is that I don't try to deny it. I try to define it. What's the purpose of this opposition that I'm facing in my life? And what can it teach me?
Yeah.
Right. There's lessons in that. Talk a little bit about that from your perspective on, what were some of the lessons you learned through some of the adversity you faced, both on the field and also in the boardrooms?
It's funny because, sometimes adversity is self-inflicted.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, like, if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you got to do is put down the shovel and stop digging.
Yeah.
Right. So I really have learned to stop running from my problems. To stop running from adversity. I feel like the more you run from something, the bigger it becomes.
Right.
So I think, like fears, like false illusion appearing real. So many people have this fear of these things, of this adversity. But I really just go on a fact finding mission and just figure out what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
What's the real challenge that I'm facing? Because then I could start, mapping out a plan once I can clearly identify what problem it is that I'm facing.
Right. And so, when I'm thinking about adversity from a leadership perspective, I'm always looking in the scope of what does it look like from the other side of the table? Because what we see as leaders is different than what our employees or our people on our team may feel and see. And so I always try to put myself in that scope of what is the energy in the room and how we face it. Because adversity can be negative if the perspective of the leadership perceives it as a negative thing, or the adversity can be looked as an opportunity.
Exactly.
It could be a moment where I'm able to grow. I'm able to take my next step. Right. And so how we empower ourselves, our minds, right? You talk about champion mindset, how you prepare yourself mentally. And as you said, put the shovel down. If you feel like it's self-inflicted, stop what you're doing. This is old school. Stop what you're doing. Because I'm about to realize, right? We got to stop what we're doing and just drop it and look at what it is and say, all right, this is what we're dealing with. And this is what we have, right? It's a chef in the kitchen trying to figure out, this is all I got left. I think about the days when mama only had so much, food in the kitchen, and it's like, we're going to make something out of nothing. And we dealt with that adversity, but we made something out of nothing. And so when I think about it from a leadership standpoint, Gary, and I'm trying to get a team together, the leadership really dictates the outcome of those things.
Yeah.
You got any opportunities or stories? Because I'm thinking about, as a fan, right? I'm taking myself back to my fanhood and the Colts days. There was a lot of adversity.
A lot.
I look at one of my favorite pictures you have is your helmet on the ball at Jerome Bettis, and I'm thinking we finally done it.
Yeah, nah, exactly.
You faced adversity.
Yeah,
I say we as a fan because I'm all invested in it. There's so much adversity over the years. How did adversity? What was that switch that made that adversity a championship team?
I think, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. We were the Patriots were our nemesis.
Yeah,
and we're playing them. We just lost twice to them in the playoffs. Now we're playing them, on the road in New England, and we know like the playoff seeding is going to be dictated by who wins this game, right? So we're in New England. I think we're down at halftime. And you got all that on your mind. And that's what happens with adversity. You start thinking big picture. Oh, the playoffs. What's this going to affect in January? How we're going to have to come back here playing the cold. But really, what he said was like, hey, guys, don't worry about the big picture. Don't worry about the playoffs now. Worry about the next half. Worry about the next play. Worry about your assignment and just do everything every single time you go out there, you line up. Just worry about that.
Yeah.
And I think that really put things in perspective because his words were, hey, we're going to go out. We're going to get a stop on defense. Offense, we're going to get the ball. We're going to march down. We're going to score. We're going to be right back in this game. We're going to win this game. And he said, I just want you to make me one promise. He said, when we win, just act like we've been here before.
Yeah, that's good.
And that was so good for us because, so many times people have adversity, but they don't really expect to overcome it. So my motto was like, expect adversity and expect to overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always expect the unexpected, right?
Yeah.
When I think about it, it's like adversity never. When I look at my calendar, especially in this day, adversity's never shown up on my calendar. It's never booked a meeting, right? It's never put a call, but it does show up on our character. And one of the biggest things that I loved about your team and the mindset, especially with Coach Dungy, he amplified it so much. Is that for me and how I look at it, saying what I just said, character never shows up in your calendar, but it shows up on your character. Like that adversity shows up. It shows up on who you are, exposes you, right? Yeah. When you have nothing or you feel like you lost everything, you talk about losing a loved one, talk about people who are losing jobs, you talk about those people who are seeking jobs, right? The talent market is shrinking. You talk about the fear of the unknowns with the economy. You talk about, how is my job, with AI the way it is, people are thinking, is my job in jeopardy? There's so much adversity out there that does not show up on the calendars and it comes unexpected. How do we prepare our character? Right. What are some of the things that we can do to prepare our character to be ready when the unexpected does come?
Yeah, we talked about on previous shows just about your value system, right? And knowing who you are, believing in that. I just listened to something to this morning. I think everyone has to ask themselves 3 questions, right? What do you really want? Right? How bad do you really want it? And what are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
Because in each one of those examples you brought up about AI, about all these type of things, they're all real threats. But what is your end goal, mine?
Yeah.
Like, what is your life plan? And how bad do you want that life plan? And then if that's something that you really want, you gotta make sacrifices. Whether that's staying at work. I've always been taught when I was on the job to make myself indispensable.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? That looks like showing up early. That looks like leaving late. That's look like doing tasks or preparing for things before I was asked to. Or position myself to be ready for opportunity that never presented itself until now.
Yeah.
And I think so many people wait until that moment, wait until the opportunity, wait until that title to start acting in that role.
Right.
And I think they're setting themselves up for that self-inflicted adversity we talked about, right? So I think really having a plan, working your plan, showing up every day as that best version of yourself and what you really want out of life. I think when that hits, you just go back to your individual values.
Yeah. So we talked about like, when I hear you saying all those things, I hear, man, we gotta be transparent.
Yeah.
Right. We got to be real, keeping it real with ourselves, not faking it until you make it, not trying to be something that you already are not. Right. But you got to be transparent with yourself. You really have to control the controllables. What can I control? I can control when I show up. I can control how I show up despite what's going on.
Yeah.
The mindset that you have means everything, right? If you come in with a negative attitude, my dad used to always say, you can't wake up with joy in the morning if you go to bed with Sarah. And I'm like, who's Sarah?
Yeah.
But Sarah was sorry and rotten attitude. He's like, man, if you go to bed with a sorry and rotten attitude, you can expect to wake up with joy. And so, yeah, that always stuck out to me. It was like control the controllables and then root yourself in purpose. What is the purpose that I have? What's my purpose? Not the team, right? Individually, what's your purpose? That starts there. It starts with like, what do you want? Yeah. How bad do you want it? What's our purpose, right? There's stages to this. And so, and then what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? All right. That means that we have to do something together. So I think about the individual, my purpose, our purpose, and then what's our goal and who do we want to be when we get there? At the end of the day, who do we want to be when we get there? We want to be a champion? Yeah. Or do we want to be there and say, hey, we got here? Yeah. Right? No, exactly. We made it.
It's crazy, right? And this sounds great, right? And both of us have overcome and we've reached the other side. Yeah. But there is a lot of people who potentially watching the podcast or somebody watching the podcast that maybe wants to show it to somebody that's like in the pit right now. Yeah. So what would you say to that person that's in the pit of adversity? They lost their job. They lost their loved ones. They're dealing with sickness or illness. Like what do they do like when you're in it?
I'll start with the leaders first. And when I say leaders, John Maxwell said leadership is influence. And so therefore, in my opinion, everybody's a leader. Yeah. We're influencing somebody. Now you can have good influence, you can have negative influence. Yeah. But influence is influence. Leadership in good times. Yeah. We get the applause. Leadership in tough times, we get the trust. Yeah. And so as leaders, if you're going through adversity, I say this, how are you earning the trust of your people? Wow. Right. It starts there because we love the applause, but as you said with Tony Dungy, when we do this, let's act like we've been here before. Yeah. That's trust in the process that everything that you put into work. Now we flip it on the other side of the table. When we talk about the employees, we talk about those people who are just in life, whether it's personal or business, going through hard times. I say the same thing. When you're doing good, people love you. Yeah. When you're facing adversity, people seem to neglect you, right? And so do you trust yourself? Because it's easy for me to say, in tough times, I'm gonna trust my leader. I'm gonna trust Gary. Yeah. Because I believe in him. He's got a reputation. He's fallen. He's gotten back up. He's done all these great things. And so it's easy to believe in somebody who's been there and done that. Yeah. It's hard for us to look at ourselves and say, I trust me. I'm gonna bet on me. That's good. When you're all alone. And so even if you feel like you don't have somebody, I think the number one thing to go through adversity is trusting yourself. Yeah. That there's a purpose behind all this adversity. And you got to be able to not necessarily strategically, but mentally fight that battle to determine what do you want? How bad do you want it? And what sacrifices are you willing to make? I think those 3 points you made really sets up it for everybody, for leaders and for people who are just, man, I'm not there. I'm not on that level. I'm just trying to get in the ground, I'm boots on the ground. I'm just a frontline employee, whatever it is. Trust yourself and determine what you want, how bad you want it, and what you're willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, that's good. The one thing that I will leave with before you wrap it up is that, oftentimes when adversity hits, people feel the most alone. Mm-hmm. And your thoughts start entering into yourself as, you're in this big old world by yourself. Mm-hmm. And for that, I will say, I remember this quote, like, don't ask for help because you're weak. Ask for help because you want to remain strong. Right. And
good. Say that again.
Like, don't ask for help because you think you're weak. Ask for help because you want to remain strong. Yeah. And I think, like you said, you got to remember your wins. You got to remember your success. Remember what got you there. And I think you have to, when things get really tough and you're feeling alone, you have to find a network, a group, your leader, your boss. You have to be transparent in those moments, because the worst thing that can happen with both leaders and employees is they become silent. Yeah. And then the assumptions start to enter, and then, the mind starts wondering what's going on. So I think being vocal, being transparent, letting people know what's going on to the degree that they need to, I think will be very beneficial, because you know what? Life is hard. Yeah. And I think people are willing to extend grace but I think it has to be based off communication.
Yeah. I'll say this, Gary, you don't become a champion because everything goes right. You become a champion because with the one thing that could break you makes you become better.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for all those out there that is going through some adversity, whether it's in personal life or whether it's in your business, becoming a champion is not something that's easy.
No.
But as Gary said, invest in yourself, right? Inspect what you expect. What do you expect in your life? Inspect it. And also invest in yourself to become better. Each one reach one.
Yeah.
And then we're here to teach one. So if this episode has been something of value of you, shout us out, like us, DM us. If you got questions on diversity, we'll love to give you more information. We'll have some more information. We'll post out some other hidden tips and clips of that out there for you as well. But once again, thank you for joining us here today on Champion Blueprint Podcast. I'm George Rogers, Gary Brackett. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, continue to champion your mindset and champion your purpose.